As you can see, unlike Ali, I've not had the help of filters or AI on my picture. I'm not quite the kind of Sabio Steve Jobs. So yeah, my name's Scott Dogsty. I work within the WFM kind of pre-sale solutions group within Sabio. Looking for slides. Oh, there we go. And I'm going to talk about WFM. You got any planners in the room? 1, 2. Do you know why that is? Why we don't have many in? Because while you guys are all here, they're running your contact centre for you. Thank you. So yeah, what I'm trying to kind of position here is obviously AI adoption within the planning world. There's a big cultural change that's required within the kind of planning space when it comes to AI adoption. Typical planning teams have been working the same way for decades, usually with inbuilt and kind of ingrained WFM tooling, which they know inside out. So any sort of change is going to be impactful, and any sort of kind of change in approach is going to throw things out a little bit. And if, as an ex-planner, we don't particularly like change. I think if anybody in this room kind of manages kind of products or lead times, I can imagine you go through all the kind of cycle of stakeholders that you need to speak to, and then you hit planning, and you go jings to keep the Scottish team going as to what we're actually doing. So here's some of the shifts that are going to happen. So we're starting to see much more in the machine learning forecasting space when it comes to AI planning. And there's a fear there, certainly for myself, because it's kind of black box forecasting. You don't know why it's chucking out the number, you don't know what it's taking into account, and nobody's going to tell you what it's doing in that space. So again, there's that hesitance where a planner who's used to explaining the numbers all the way through and being able to explain that to a senior stakeholder now has to trust the system. We've got optimized scheduling, so being able to look at different optimization engines compared to maybe some of the more established WFMs. And we're seeing the established WFMs also move through and start to adopt more and more AI within their product and more machine learning algorithms within their forecasting and their scheduling. The key one for me is the generative AI assistance. So this is where planners tend to have a lot of overhead. And what I mean by that is there tends to be a ridiculous amount of effort to answer some simple questions. When a senior stakeholder says, how many people are off sick today? That can actually carry quite significant overhead depending on your reporting suite. And the way that the WFMs are moving now, a lot of these reports and information are getting more and more hidden behind APIs, which are a different skill set from your traditional planner who could maybe self-serve by extracting information and using trusty Excel. You've got the strategic workforce transformation element of it. And that's around moving away from being a reactive function to being a much more proactive function and providing more insight and value rather than just be seen as a cost center within your organization. The impact on the planning teams, as we've briefly touched on, is that they tend to fear change. They tend not to want to embrace change. And we have to kind of be careful in there because they can, in my opinion, they can break your contact center if you don't get it right. It's going to be very expensive. And there's that kind of fear factor from a cultural change perspective that they need to try and adopt. The analytics competency, so we're starting to see more things happening within Python rather than Excel, using R, forest models when it comes to forecasting. Things are getting more and more complex. And if I'm a planner, I should be investing in those skills in order to make sure that I'm adopting all the new technologies which are being put towards me. We've got cross-functional collaboration. We're seeing more and more organizations have that much more interlinked rather than just having ops and finance and IT, having these much more kind of holistic views of the world where everyone's kind of working together or under the same stakeholder. And the key part for me is around the ethical AI elements. This does not remove the human element within the planning team. That governance and control needs to be in place. The AI, the machine learning, we need to make sure we're preventing any sort of unknown bias. We need to do the checks and balances to make sure that everybody is aware that it's working as designed and that it's not doing something a bit wild because actually logically it is the right thing to do, but maybe not the right thing to do for your people. So that's the boring bit. I'm now going to go into the dangerous bit. This all went really well so far today, so obviously it's going to break in a minute. So what I'm kind of showing you here is our AI intraday assistant. There's two component parts to it. I'm going to show you the bit which I tend to kind of pitch as the kind of more standard piece, and then I'm going to show you what we've done with Stephen that you've heard already. We've kind of pivoted Stephen from being kind of like a voice agent to being more like a real-time analyst. So a lot of this information, although it's fairly simple, can be quite difficult from a contact center perspective to get a hold of. So we're looking at things like contact volume, forecast versus actual, and what the deviation of that looks like. Average handle time. Again, the forecast versus actual, is it going awry? Is it underperforming? service level or abandonment, and also what's happening with your staffing. So at a glance, you're able to say what's happening within my contact center. As we go down, we're able to look at trends, service level, call volume, all the kind of good stuff that a planner would be looking for or an operation would be looking for. Similar with staffing forecast versus actual. Did I have enough people planned, and did they actually turn up and do their job? We then move on to adherence and conformance. Is everyone au fait with the terms adherence and conformance? I'm seeing a mixture of blank faces and a couple of nods. So the easy way that I describe it is conformance is if I expected 7 hours of customer contact time from my agent, did I get 7 hours, regardless of when it happened? And adherence is, did they do what we expected them to do at the time that we expected them to do it? It becomes a bit more of a complex measure because you can technically have positive and negative adherence. I've caught in a customer call, I'm doing all the good things for my customer, but it meant that I went on my break late. That's positive in my view because it's doing the right thing for the customer. I turned up 20 minutes late and I didn't log on for 20 minutes. That would be negative adherence. Again, it's not matching the plan. So on here, you're able to see that in real time. And similarly, you're able to zoom in on particular agents and particular departments and teams. Down the bottom, we're able to see what real-time shrinkage, what does my absence look like, what's my training looking like against what the plan was. And we're able to see that in real time so we can understand, are we drifting because of our own actions and behaviours, or is it something that's been done to us via a demand element? So I'm conscious I've got 3 minutes, so I'm going to very quickly, the gods aligning.
Hi, I'm Stephen from Sabio. Before we get started, could I just confirm who's with us today in your roles?
Hi Stephen, enter simulation mode.
Great, let's jump into simulation mode. How can I help with intraday delivery today?
Stephen, what's happened in my contact centre?
Today we're seeing service levels dropping below our target. Call volumes are 22% higher than expected, and the average handling time is also higher than anticipated. Do you want a summary of agent scheduling issues as well?
No, Stephen, why are we so busy?
The higher call volumes seem to be due to more calls than usual about confusing letters that customers received. Would you like to know more or discuss any actions we can take?
Is that why average handle time's so high?
Yes, the confusion from these letters likely requires longer calls, as agents need more time to explain and assist customers. This increase in call complexity can raise the average handling time. Anything else you'd like to explore?
What are my staff up to?
Currently, 12 agents are in coaching sessions that weren't planned. There's also a higher number of unscheduled sick leaves, with 7 agents off, compared to the 3% shrinkage we anticipated. Breaks and lunches also don't seem optimised for our service levels. Would you like to make any changes to the schedule?
What do you recommend?
I recommend optimising breaks and lunches to align better with peak call times. We should also reschedule or cancel the coaching sessions for today to ensure more agents are available. Would you like me to proceed with these changes and provide a new service level projection?
Yes, please.
I've made those changes. With the optimisation, you can expect a 7% improvement in the end of day service level. Would you like any further updates or assistance?
Was anyone late today, Stephen?
Yes, Tom Smith was about 23 minutes late to his scheduled start time. Let me know if you'd like me to update his schedule accordingly.
Yes, please. And did anyone help us out today?
I've updated Tom's schedule with his lateness. Julie Hendry worked 12 minutes beyond her shift to support a customer call. Would you like me to add this time to Julie's time off in lieu?
Yes, please.
I've added the extra 12 minutes to Julie's time off in lieu. Is there anything else you need help with today?
I need to schedule a meeting for all staff between 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. today.
Scheduling all staff for a meeting between 4 and 5 p.m. would lead to a substantial drop of around 13% in the day's end service level. This would result in a poor experience for customers. Are you sure you'd like to proceed with this?
Yes, please.
All right, I've scheduled the meeting for all staff between 4 and 5 p.m. Let me know if there's anything else you need.
Okay, so that's just giving you a kind of sample of the capabilities where there's a couple of things it's doing there. So the reason why we're so busy being confusing letters, it's looking at the transcripts of calls and summarising that to understand what the impact of that demand actually looks like, what our customers telling us. So rather than being our new business line is busy, it must be new business. It could be new business line is busy because the website's down. So it's giving you that direct insight and then allowing you to take action of it. When it's saying I've updated that, it's writing into the WFM to make sure that it's completing all of these actions off the back of you. You'll also notice it was asking, would you like to do this? Would you like to do this? We work on what I call a call and response model, where it's not going to take action by itself unless you actually tell it. That's part of those ethical guardrails that I spoke about earlier on. I'm conscious about the time. I don't have a pod out there, but we've got a section downstairs. After we break, and you obviously listen to all the fantastic speakers we've got today, come and give us a shout if you want more information, and we'll take you downstairs and do a direct demo. Thank you.